Hey guys, JJ here. Welcome to the virtual reality experience brought to you by EAA. We have Alexis here, a very new shooter, and we're going to walk her through some of the basics and fundamentals of shooting. Today we're just going to discuss right now stance and grip. So all right, Alexis, we're going to talk about the stance first before we even get to the gun, because that's how I like to teach, from the ground up, right? Solid platform, and once we establish that, we can move on to handling the gun, manipulating the gun, the hard part. All right, in terms of the stance, the main purpose for the stance is mobility and balance, right? So basically, I just want you to be as balanced as possible. We're imagining you just jumped and you landed in a position where you're pretty aggressive and you don't want to be pushed over. So adjust your feet however you want to do. Imagine that. Have some sort of flex in your knees. Cool. And this stance that she's kind of got right now is kind of what we call the modified isosceles stance, where the strong side foot is a little bit back and the support side foot is a little bit forward. That allows her to be able to manipulate the grip correctly and position herself correctly behind the gun. Also, what this does is that allows her for mobility. She's got pretty good balance, because right now it's a windy day here in Las Vegas. I want you to put your hand out, and essentially I don't want her to get pushed back. So basically, this is the grip, this is the stance essentially that I want for her to be able to fight the recoil of the gun, because without that, we'll be flopping around and it'll be a sloppy day in the range. All right, now that we've established that, there's a lot of, this is not the end all be all. There's a myriad of techniques on this. Mine's a little bit wider, but I have a different purpose also. You can extend it as wide as you can, but the general idea is to keep it shoulder width apart and a little bit offset on that. So you have a little bit of push and pull between your legs and your feet. All right, now we're gonna get to the gun. I know we already established the gun is clear earlier, but I want you to take it out of the holster and then clear it one more time. Good. Now that the gun is clear, we're going to talk about grip. Grip is basically the two principles that we work off of is leverage and friction. How do you get leverage? Get as high as you can in that gun. And the gun, depending on the design, will naturally stop you from getting too high. All right. And from there, I want you to, the support hand, I want you to just grip it, lay it down a little bit so they can see. All right. And this missing piece right here, essentially, I want you to fill in with this piece right here. This is basically the missing piece to that puzzle on that grip, and you're just going to lay it on top of there, right? And basically creating as much friction and as much leverage as you can. Not down low, because it won't bode you any well, no matter how much friction or leverage you create, friction you create from there. You want to move it up as high as you can on that gun to be able to mitigate that recoil. From there, now we talk about pressure. People talk about 60, 40, 70, 30. That's just a rough idea, an arbitrary number that people need to be able to grip this tightly without affecting their trigger press and trigger finger, and then their support hand to grip as tightly as possible to support, which is called it's called the support hand, to support the strong hand, the shooting hand, essentially. All right, so now I want you to essentially apply that technique. Give it some 30, 70 type thing where I grip as hard as I can, just putting as much pressure as you can on the gun. And the reason why I tell her to grip as hard as I can is because there's some sloppy grips out there. This right here, if I essentially push the gun's essentially moving up as one piece, as one unit. If I do this around the whole gun and she's moving with the gun, if you loosen up the grip a little bit, relax your wrist, this is not what I want. I don't want the gun moving independently from her body. We are one as a unit, and this will allow her to shoot fast shots subsequently and a little bit more accurate. And this is going to bode her well later as we get to the firing line and get to the trigger and sights and shooting a hot gun. All right, any questions from you? No? All right, we're gonna test it out now, and then in a little bit we're gonna discuss sights and trigger. Holster up. All right, Alexis, we're gonna try to shoot now. We're gonna apply the same fundamentals in terms of grip, stance, and now we're gonna include the sights and trigger on it. All right, I want you to rack the slide a couple times. Make sure it's clear, and we're gonna dry fire it real quick. I want you to pull the trigger once to have a good idea of what it feels like. Get your dot and lined up on target. If you need a little bit of help, it's somewhere around here, right? You see it? Okay, get your stance right, nose over your toes, weight forward, lock grip, perfect, and just press the trigger without disturbing the sights. Perfect. You got that feel? Load it up. Yep, finger off the trigger, rack the slide once. Yep, aim in. And once you see that dot on target, all you're doing is moving that trigger back. Okay. It's a conversation between you and the gun. Don't cut it off. Move the trigger, steady the dot. Move the trigger, steady the dot. Add that pressure. Good. Not bad. Good job. Keep it up. You dead center. Perfect. Good job. Right on top of the other. One hole. Don't rush it. You saw it? Like I saw the gun move there. You made that one you shot yourself. I want you to just remember, it's not about shooting the gun. It's about moving the trigger, controlling the movement. The gun shoots by itself. Watch your dot. Steady. Perfect. Right back in there. Give me another round just to confirm. Perfect. Amazing. All right, safety up. Actually, I want you to unload and show clear. Drop the magazine. Finger off the trigger. There you go. Rack the slide a couple times. Right, and then check it one last time. Good. Drop the hammer. Drop the hammer, meaning pull the trigger. Perfect. Good job. What do you think?
It was fun.
It was a lot of fun, right? I mean, your results were amazing considering that it's your first time. All right, so good job. Well done, well done. Thank you very much for joining this virtual reality training brought to you by EAA. Hopefully, we'll see you next time. Thank you.